everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Sarah here with you, and I'm back with a video for, it's been forever since I've done one. There has been a lot going on that made me kind of stop uploading videos for the past couple of months or so, but hopefully I'm trying to get back into YouTubing and tutorials and stuff, and I decided that I'm gonna start or restart fresh, and hopefully I can start to present some YouTube tutorials like drawing tutorials and such, and also in the future talk about more of my comic, which I am gonna be working on, or actually I'm working on, but that will be in a separate video in which I'll get to talk more specifically about it. But today in this video I decided to start off with something really fun, which is what do I have in my portable bag. Portable bag? Of course our bags are portable. What I mean is my portable, like, art supplies, you know, when you're doing like outdoor sketching and stuff. And this is gonna be the type of things that you can do or make to save money if you are into art and you can't really afford the expensive art tools. I'm gonna give you tips and tricks and some tips on how you can make a sketchbook like this. This is actually homemade, so it does look a little bit, well, out of sorts, but inside of it, it's a fully functioning sketchbook that you can draw in it. Even I did some watercolors, some stuff here still not complete, or just random doodles. Here are some watercolors, sketches. It's actually, since I started it, everything in here is watercolored, except for this one. This is water pencil colored. And this one too, because this was a quick sketch for a random design. The covers themselves are watercolored, although this one had like, since you know you leave it on the table like that, it had a little bit of, well, it's hard time, I would say. But that's because of the fact that usually the cover would get dust on it and so on, it would get a bit damaged. But that's really okay, because in the end this is a sketchbook that its role is for you to actually play and do fun stuff in it. It's not meant to be neat, it's just meant to be sturdy. This one is actually a very sturdy sketchbook, and the paper inside of here is sturdy enough to do this kind of level of watercolors. Now I'm gonna tell you how I made this a little bit later in the video, and what to avoid when you're making watercolor sketch like this. But first, let's get into what's inside of my pencil case. This is actually a cheap pencil case that I found in one of the toy stores. Sometimes I go there and they would have like colors for kids or pencil cases for kids. Because they're targeted for kids, they're meant to be at a cheaper price. So you may want to look in toy stores for like pencil cases. This one is quite large, as you'll see in a second, but it was a lot cheaper from what I actually can find in stationery shops or in art stores, and it's much more sturdier and also bigger. You can also try places that sells makeup bags. There are some cheap makeup bags as well with this kind of size, but this one had a Hello Kitty, so it's rather cute actually, and it was really appealing to get. Alright, so let's see what's in this pencil case. It's quite heavy because it has a lot of stuff inside of it. As you can see, there's a lot of markers and stuff. Let's first talk about this portable watercolor set. This is Pibio, and it's one of those portable metal cases watercolors, and this is a travel kit. And this actually came with 12 colors, but here I put in an extra 8 more colors and glued them to this tin tray, in which sometimes I could get out like this, and I have a bigger mixing area. As you can see, I have mixed colors here, here, and here, and it's it is used. It is. Well, you can tell how an artist is messy from their messy art tools. The cool thing about this idea is the fact that it's recyclable. When you get to glue all of those half pans, you don't need to get any more half pans ever. You're gonna buy your tubes and you're gonna refill each of these half pans. A half pan is about 3 grams in amount of color you can get, while a tube is about 10 or 12 grams. So you can calculate it's 3 to 4 times more, and it's a lot cheaper. All you're just gonna do, you're just gonna squeeze in the color, let it dry overnight, and you're good to go. There are some brands that sells you tin cases with the half pans or full pans with no paint, and then you get to customize it as you like. Or there are some countries like here where I'm living where you cannot get any of those empty half pan things. It was a struggle for me because I looked for empty half pans or full pans or anything, and all I could find was the bigger palettes, in which are really hard to put into your backpack. If you're doing like you want to have something small and portable, this was the best fit. The way that I customized it, I had a lot of colors here. I will admit I have another set of watercolors which I picked up the half pans from it and put it here so I can make this. So I actually did sacrifice one of the smaller or 12-piece sets that I have. I am keeping the half pans aside, so when I make a future palette like this with a bunch of different colors, they're gonna be there, they're gonna be usable in that sort of newer set. But for now, this is really great. Another really cool watercolor set. This one I got, sometimes I take it, sometimes I don't, usually because these ones are Pibio. Pibio have this sort of pastel-ish sort of palette. This is Van Gogh. This is a student grade. Both are student grades, but this one has much more intense, vibrant colors. So pastel and vibrant colors together, they do create some cool results together. Here I have 15 colors. This is how the set looks like, and I have glued the half pans, and again, you can refill them. The thing is, with this palette, it's also really small. It doesn't really fit in here, so I do keep it outside. The mixing trays here are fantastic. So these are two choices if you want to go for, or if I want to go for a portable day out to sketch. And as you can see, I have doodled on this. The downside to this is the fact that it's plastic. It's not sturdy as this. This one also, you can, in case this gets damaged or anything, you can move this into another metal tray. So this one definitely has a lot more positives over this, including also the fact that it carries more colors. This one here has the better mixing trays. It really is up to you what kind of palette do you prefer. I definitely like metal ones a lot better because they're more sturdier. And we're moving on from watercolors to the other things inside of this. And I'm gonna bring everything out so you can see clearly what I do pack in my... Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And there's the first pouch, which I'm gonna show later. So I have a medium-sized water brush, and I have these erasers that has a similar mechanism of a mechanical pencil, where you put this long eraser thing and you just press on it. Wow, finally came out. It's quite old in use, so I'm not surprised if this one got a little damage from being overused, but it's great because I don't know how to exactly use the needed eraser. This does replace that because it can get small areas of when I want to clean smaller areas and stuff. And then I have a normal eraser, a sharpener. Then we have these. I don't know exactly what's the name of these things. I do know that, you know, when you get to blend your pencil colors, these are used to blend them in together instead of blending in with your tip of the finger, which kind of destroys it because your hand has oils in it. So that's why it kind of creates that sort of messy feel to your drawing. This is a lot better. It's made from paper, and usually you can chip out the extra colors because when you are blending there are going to be some pigments here, so you can chip that out with some sort of a cutter or some sort of arts and crafts knife or an X-Acto cutter or something. And the set that this came with 3 sizes: the small or the fine one, the medium size, and the large one. Usually it comes in 2 ends like this, but this one had a little bit of suffering and it ended up like, I don't exactly know what happened for me, like in the past, but I damaged that part and that is the usable part. Then I have some fine multi-liner over here. I use the Uniball Fine Fade and Proof Pigment ink, and I use these sizes: the 0.05, the 0.1, the 0.2, and 0.3. Although most of my work is between the 0.05, this one, and the 0.1. Sometimes I want to have some thicker lines, so I use the 0.2. The 0.3 ball, I rarely use it, but it does have a bit of use when you're doing, let's say you want to have like black hair and you want to color it. So I use that in this. I have also these ones. You know when you want to fill a black area with marker? These are exactly the same thing, but this one, as you can see, it's a bit of a more of a fine pointed marker thing, and this one over here is about, you know, medium. It's not that big like the bigger markers that you use like in the whiteboard size. It's great for pencil case. I have some really interesting pencil collection over here. This is the most interesting one. Now I don't use this one's like a Lucky Charm for some reason. It's broken and it is, I don't even know what I've done in this. I chipped off, you know when you get the ruler and then you get to do this and then you chip off of the paint out of your pencil. I did that for some reason. But it's just a Lucky Charm. So I'll leave that aside. Now I have a collection of normal pencils. These are the Faber-Castell. These are quite a bit expensive because they have a higher quality lead, but they don't break, so they actually live longer. If they live longer, they have a much more value and, you know, to them. Instead of the cheaper Chinese pencils that has a Chinese lead in which you can, a lot of times it can smudge over. So I do recommend you, if you're going for some pencils, do invest in a bit of a quality one. They're gonna be a little bit expensive, but they're gonna give you much more time and a much more lifespan over the Chinese pencils. That's gonna really make you tear your hair away from how horrible the lead will smudge. So I have here an H pencil. This is HB, and an F and a B. This one is quite used. I usually lay my base with an H pencil. I start to put a little bit more details with the F pencil, which is the darker degree from H. Then HB, I would put more details like the clothes, the sharpen the face features and all of that. And then finally, if sometimes if the drawing is not clear enough, I want to clear out the lines I want to ink, I would use a B pencil, but I don't usually use a B pencil. What I usually use are mechanical pencils for these fine sort of details. Per se, the eyes, the eyelashes, the hair details, because my drawings, the way that I draw hair, has an insane amount of details. So I usually would like to have like the details clear to me before I ink them. And I have an HB normal 0.7 mechanical pencil, and the darker one is a B mechanical pencil. And then I have these two. This is mainly for writing notes, and this is something I thought to try but I haven't tried out yet, instead of putting like shading lines with multi-liners, why not try it with a normal ball pen? I did try to ink before with a ball pen some of my drawings, but they do that very poorly when there are lead. So the plan is ink my drawing, no lead whatsoever, and then start to shade out and see what kind of effect I'm gonna get from this. Maybe some hair strands, who knows? Like, I have a bunch of ideas and possibilities for that. I have this. This is a calligraphy pen. This is like instead of the corrector and instead of carrying gouache, because as you can see, it can give different sizes of lines because it has that sort of chipped end in the pen. There are usually the thicker size of this, but this one is much more better for portable sizes. Again, this come like in this size and the size of the whiteboard marker, and this is a ruler obviously. And these ones, these are the Pitt pens. They're alcohol-based pens. They're not exactly like Copic. I haven't really given them a full try out yet. I found a set that sells these different degrees of gray, and I thought that would be really interesting to try them in sketching, because this is how the tip looks like. It's a bit similar to Copic. I have not really tried Copic before in my life, but they're a bit soft, so I do wonder how that will apply in a drawing. From the testing that I did for these ones dry awfully fast, so blending like 2 layers together, they don't really blend that well. From what I saw on the internet, they look good when you're doing like quick sketches or these kind of quick drawings. And they have a duct tape for some reason, and that's the bigger pouch in my pencil case. The other pouch here, quickly, is my pencil colors. These ones are 30 different pencil colors. They're not really anything fancy. They're your type of normal Faber-Castell, same type of pencil colors that kids use in school. Then I have my lead here for my mechanical pencils, eraser, and another extra sharpener for the colors, and then my portable brushes. This one is the type that comes with Winsor & Newton, the small set, the 12 watercolor set, and this one comes with the Van Gogh, the set that I showed you earlier that had the 15 colors within them. So the cheaper alternatives, I would say, because I know like this is a lot of stuff, this is gonna cost a lot of money. Well, this is recommendation number 1. The recommendation number 2 is the pencil colors. You don't need to get all very expensive brand. You can invest in some multi-liners. You can just get the 0.1 and 0.2. You can invest in just one mechanical pencil, and the lead over here also is another cheaper alternative from Faber-Castell. The ones that comes like colors, these ones happen to be in different colors, green and blue and red and pink and all that. These are a lot cheaper than ones, but they only come in HB degree. You can just get these two and you're gonna be fine. The only thing you can invest in are good pencils. You can get yourself a nice H pencil, an HB, and if possible, to get a B pencil. And that's really all you need to invest in. And this one too. This one can help replace gouache if you want to create those shiny touches. They can also correct some stuff, although I don't really recommend it. And finally, you can invest in these as well. These are actually quite cheap. And you do kind of need some sort of a brush. You can get the portable brushes that comes with the watercolor sets, or you can get yourself just one water brush. A medium size will be great because from large areas to smaller details, and it's really great because you don't need to carry around a pouch of water everywhere you go. And other than that, I don't really recommend anything more. Alright, so let's come into the last part of the video, which is the handmade sketchbook, the sturdy sketchbook. I'm not gonna say it looks great or artistic or anything of that sort. It does look messy. Best thing though about this sketchbook is the fact that you can pick the paper that you want to make it from. Now inside here is a very cheap type of paper called Fabriano, and I know Fabriano is a big company that produces a lot of sketchbooks, but they also produce sets for printer paper. They present packages with like 100 paper, 200 paper with different types of thickness. This is 160 gram paper, printer type of paper. Usually that paper type or that thick paper type is used when per se you are in a company and they're printing out like a certificate or something that needs like not your normal printer paper, but something that's a bit sturdier. So that's why they make this kind of thick paper. As you can hear, it does produce a sound completely different, and you can tell how it bends. This one bends easy. This is your normal printer paper, and this is the 160 gram paper. Now this is by all means super cheap compared to sketchbooks. You can get a package of 140 paper. I barely used around 20 paper to make this sketchbook, and I ended up with, oh, as you can see, it is hand sawed, and this is a little bit under A5 size. I ended up with a very nice sketchbook that had like 40 paper of sketchbook that I can draw in here and backward. So overall, I have a small sketchbook that has 80 drawable paper, unless one of the sketches you get to draw bleeds on the other side. This paper is sturdy enough for random watercolor sketching. And here's how I did this. Now I got me my paper, started to hand fold them, and then I got me a very thick needle. And as you can see, I have pierced about 4 holes in this. Yeah, it focused finally. On which I got to hand saw this. And after I hand saw this, of course you're not seeing the knots because there usually will be knots when you're tying this. The knots were hidden with this cover I made. The cover, this is actually also from that Fabriano sort of paper that like this. But then I actually glued this last paper to a 140 gram Canson paper to hide the knots and to give the cover a little bit of a more sturdier feel. This is actually because these are 2 quite thick paper that have been glued together with this. So I did use a white adhesive, which is usually used in making spines like the bigger sketchbooks. So this is actually helps to make the cover much more sturdier. I don't use a lot, maybe just a couple of drops here, and then I just glue it together like that, and then it will start to spread. And after it all dried up, and I did all of my lovely drawings here, I got a bit of sketch tape, or the watercolored tape, this kind of masking tape. I think it's called masking tape. What I did, because the edges over here was starting to get a little bit deteriorated, and I sort of want to protect it because if I left it, it will start to deteriorate and it will damage the cover. So I'll just glued the ends, this point as well. It's also taped. It's also mask taped. I didn't glue it. It's mask tape, and as you can see, also mask tape from here, and then the inside as well. Now I know that this does not look like the most best sketch in the world, but considering that the economy is really bad, sketchbooks and watercolor paper are really expensive, more people are withdrawing more from trying to do art. Like, you want to sketch, you want to have the great tools, but you're too afraid. With this sketchbook, you don't have to worry about that anymore because you can make your own. Put a little bit more effort This is how you can make your sketchbook. You can refill the pans. You can just get the stuff that I recommended in the pencil case. You don't need to get all of the stuff I have. I just have, like, I will admit that 40% out of my pencil case are a little bit of an extra, to be honest. By the way, this drawing was done by these cheap watercolors, the ones that you get for kids, you know, the ones that you can try for the cheap watercolor challenge. I actually tried it here with this paper. It's sturdy with my water brush. I have a thinner water brush that I keep at home, so I use that with my medium-sized water brush, and it did a very good result. This was sort of an experiment to see what I can do with cheaper watercolors, with cheap paper, and with a cheap water brush. Everything really is made out of cheap alternatives. Everything here. This is one of the examples of the cheap watercolors that is used for kids. This is an A5 sketchbook or a bit under, and this is how this cheap palette compared to that sketchbook. And actually this has here mixing trays, and there's the place for a brush. This is another alternative. As you can see, if I compare the cakes together, you can tell the difference. This one is great because, yeah, there are two levels. You can just put them like this and enjoy. And I actually prefer this brand, or prefer this type, because they have a better pigmentation than this brand. I know you have probably never heard about this, and this is the cheapest palette I've got. Was the one that I used in creating this drawing. It's not as great as what you can get from tubes, but still they're very, very satisfying results. Sometimes if I'm gonna teach kids how to actually paint, I would ask them to get this or that, in case I'm doing some, like, a bit of light teaching. Some actually would come and ask me, they want to have a bit of advice on how to use watercolors, and they really are scared to get something expensive, so I take this or this with me. I hope that this was educational somewhat. I know it was more of a rant. If you get the stuff that I mentioned, like the essential stuff, these are the basics that you need to draw. If you don't make the sketchbook, you can always go for the paper I mentioned, and you can draw in them like sheet by sheet. But if you want to go for the sketchbook field, in which you get to go around and get your friends to, like, look at my drawings, and you get to flip them like that. I know it's pretty damn cool feeling to do that. You can always make your sketchbook in that kind of manner. You're gonna need just a thick needle, and the thread is actually like 8 threads put in together. You don't need to get a special super thread or anything of that sort. And normal thread, just instead of 1, multiply by 8 or 10. And that's really all you need. And with that, guys, I'll be seeing you in another video in which I'm gonna talk about more of the cheaper art tools, like cheap alcohol marker tutorials. We're not gonna go into Copics or anything of that sort. We're gonna stay with the cheaper stuff, things that anyone can afford. Cheap watercolor tutorials, more cheaper stuff. You can create art out of the most basic things you can imagine. And this is what I'm gonna be focusing on from now on most of my videos. I do have a bit of higher quality stuff, but I have not seen any person on YouTube focus on the cheaper side of things. Most of the people would focus on getting the more higher quality stuff and giving tutorials on it. My direction is gonna be how you can actually get the best out of the cheapest, which is not a bad thing, by the way. Let's call it what you can get out of the most affordable tools around. So with that, I will end this video right here, and I'll see you in another video /speed art /art rant. So I'll see you later.